So, common theme. I'm pretty much a big dork. I think you know that. But yeah, that's what I want to talk to you here about today is shame and embarrassment, right? Now, these two things are good, right? But they're also bad. Now, how can that be? It sounds quite contradictory. I totally thought of that rhyme beforehand. Anyway, right? Shame and embarrassment, two separate things, okay? So embarrassment is when you know you've sort of done something wrong or something a little bit cheesy or not really cool, and you're sort of expecting the public to rip into you, more or less. And it happens. People get bad comments and negative reviews, and they do something really silly, and it's deservedly so, because the whole point of embarrassment is that it lets you know your behavior is not up to scratch with the rest of society, right? That's also where shame goes into, but shame's a little bit different in terms of society more has those expectations and deliberately sets down boundaries that if you go over, okay, you will be shamed for, right? You will feel embarrassed, you can feel embarrassed about it, but you can be publicly shamed. And a shaming is more of a cultural phenomenon where a society sort of ostracizes a member and it or a group, and it can really suck. It can be really hard to have to deal with that, right? Now, embarrassment, circling back, that's the good one, okay? Now, why do I say it's good? Because shame is dictated from others, okay? But embarrassment is dictated from within, right? Now, again, going back to what I said about how I'm kind of a dork, it's because I don't get embarrassed, right? I happily act like this. I'm kind of awkward in person sometimes, but not only awkward, but very comfortable with myself, okay? Now, when I say awkward, I mean, I'll walk in and, I used to be very blunt. I used to tell somebody if, they had their tag hanging out or they were carrying toilet paper, all the social faux pas stuff that maybe you meant to just discreetly say, I would just blurt it out. Hey, buddy, your fly's undone, okay? So I really had to learn to not embarrass other people, because for some reason people care about feelings. They care about social status. They care about where they are. It's just not me. I'm honestly so happy and comfortable and content in being myself that I can do pretty much anything really weird. That's my underarm. Gross. Sorry. And I would care. I'm just happy being me. Okay. And that's the one message I'm trying to get across here, is that if you worry about shame, you worry about getting embarrassed, it restricts you from doing things for good reason. Okay. I don't want people just walking down the street naked. Okay. That's too many things going everywhere. It's gross, and it's not really what I'm about. But the whole reason that we have shame is that everybody sort of decides, yeah, we also agree that it's probably not a good thing because, well, people don't want to look at the gross bodies, and the really attractive bodies might get too much attention. It's nice to cover up things and not have yourself so exposed. So, people decided to wear clothes, and then of course, as we wear the clothes and it gets adapted into society, it's just something more or less that we go along with. For good reason. Plus they keep us warm, and you can look cool. Again, lame. Big W Paul. But anyway, not getting embarrassed, not caring about it. There's a benefit to that, okay? When you're doing something where you're not trying to get shamed, you're just trying to be a regular member of society, and you're trying to play by the rules, okay? And these are serious rules. You're not supposed to be out there getting charged with crimes. That's why they're crimes. Yeah, I suppose that's why we as a society have laws, and we come together and say, we'd prefer it if the majority of people didn't do this, and therefore, you have your punitive system to deal with that, but you also have the public and the social and the society that really, all of us we're all members. We all interact with each other in terms of what society is. You can't just say, that big abstract idea that is society. Society is completely made up of me and you and that guy and that girl and what everybody says and what everybody does. And somewhere along the lines, people come up with some kind of understanding of the social fabric, interwovenness of our community, of a society, right? So shame is good from a public perspective. But embarrassment, it helps you keep yourself tracked in line with how you should go on the path of dealing with public shame. I mean, obviously, you're meant to avoid it. So when you know that you're doing something that's socially faux pas, which I'm not really sure if you're supposed to say socially before faux pas, because I think faux pas really just indicates that on its own. But anyway, sorry, a little bit sidetracked there. Going back to what I was saying, being embarrassed, okay, coming from within allows you to align yourself and your behaviors with the rest of society. But then it's all about casting judgment, okay? Should he have done that? Should I have done that? Oh, sorry. I'm just rambling at this point. I'm just getting all mixed up in the words because I'm so happy that I don't get embarrassed, which is another thing, is I can just mess this up as many times as I want. And I mean, the worst thing it's going to do is probably make a lot of you not watch, and so turning down viewers, which would be pretty bad. But I don't, again, really don't care in terms of how the reception is felt. And people are probably going to be like bad comments and try to make me feel embarrassed, but I just don't see the point. I mean, sure, you can live your life caring about what other people say and think, which is basically what embarrassment feeds on. But I just don't operate that way. I'm just happy doing my own thing. And, you know, so long as I'm not out there murdering people and thieving from them and all that bad, negative stuff that you hear about, I'd like to consider myself a decent member of society. But that doesn't mean that I have to fall into all of the social trappings, which I think kind of is. I mean, I see people who don't do what they really want to do because they're afraid. And they're afraid not because what they're going to do is going to physically hurt them, but emotionally. The confidence will be shattered because somebody will say something negative. Oh no! You can't deal with criticism? You can't deal with somebody saying something bad about you? It's the end of the frickin' world, man! I mean, how do you deal with that? Oh, wait. Actually, I'm sorry, I don't know. It's actually pretty easy. You just don't care. Like, why would you care? Why do you care what other people say? Why do you care what other people think? If they're a person who adds value to your life, and you know that perhaps keeping them around is a good thing, yeah, I would tailor my actions to make sure that I don't piss that person off. Sorry, excuse the language. But I would make sure that I want to keep that person around in my life. But if you're just some pleb down the street who doesn't like the way I dress or doesn't like how I interact with others, that's your problem. Right? Perfect example here, okay? As I said, I'm a youth worker in a school, right? We recently had a ice bucket challenge for MND, right? Wonderful cause, but student run, student led, it was great, okay? And so what they were doing is they're getting the teachers and the staff members involved in a dunking, okay? And I thought it would be fun to dress up, you know, get a bit of a theme going and whatnot. And, you know, so I'm a footy player, I wore my footy uniform, got up there, got dunked. It was wonderful, like everyone was having a laugh, everyone was loving it, okay? It was really cool. I had a lot of comments from mainly, you know, some of those jerky cool footy guys or, you know, those too cool for school girls. Usually 10, 11, like year 10, year 11, those kind of groups, where you're really sort of moving on behind the, I'm a little boy, like I'm a little kid, and I'm just finding myself and I'm finding my body from, you know, like year 7 to 9, I guess, whatever. And then 10, 11, you're kind of too cool, and then by year 12, you're like, oh yeah, man, you know, that's all right, I'm happy to just move on, right? Because, you know, that's the next stage of life. After school is just more moving on, which is funny because it's all just moving on. Every day is moving on, which is why you shouldn't get embarrassed, because you should be so very good at just moving on. So really, you've got nothing to lose. Stop caring what other people think. Only care about the direct result between you and the people you want in your life. Apart from that, save yourself some embarrassment.